Welcome to Theme 2 session. In this track, we will be talking about artificial intelligence, human and machine learning. My name is Shiv Tripathi, and I would be moderating this session. We will be touching on some of the fundamental issues, but most of the presentations that we have in this theme, in this particular track, will be touching either on the relationship issues, purpose for which we are creating the applications, or the factors which are driving the artificial intelligence, including the content part. So all these 8 presentations divided into these 3 areas. The bigger question will be at the end, which we would like to explore with you all together, that what form of AI we are looking for the future. But focus is always that human is at the core. So artificial intelligence and natural intelligence, what relationships we are going to look into. My friends, welcome, and let's explore together.
Thank you, Dr. Shiv, for presenting me. Good morning, everyone. My presentation titled Enhancing Customer Relationships by Using Clustering Algorithm. This work was prepared by the collaboration with my colleague Dr. Farid Mangi, and it's in the field of data and information processing and in the theme AI, human and machine learning. As introduction, I'll start with the idea of my work. I'll start with the importance of enhancing customer relationship.
Yeah. Thank you. Great.
So we all know that it's very important to build healthy, strong, and very good relationships with customers in order to generate greater demand, ensure retention of existing customers, and also in order to increase revenues of all kinds of companies. But these companies cannot achieve these goals without the satisfaction of customer. In the past, a lot of works tried to deal with big data and tried to trade big data, but they were in front of a great problem, which is the long time of execution. They tried to use parallel processing in order to reduce the execution time, but also now they are in front of a new problem, which is the complexity of processing. Then some studies try to compare several clustering algorithms in order to find the optimal one regarding the time of execution. But previous studies didn't consider the qualitative methods based on the domain of experience. So why in our work we try to provide a framework which can present qualitative analyzing of data by using or based on the behavior of customers. And in our work, we will use K-means algorithm because previous studies concluded that this algorithm perform very good regarding the time of execution. And also we will use RFM analysis in order to segment our customer. Our work steps start with data collection, then data cleaning, RFM analysis, and I can say that RFM analysis is the acronym of recency, frequency, monetary value. And then after applying RFM function, we will reprocess our data in order to normalize the output or RFM function. The last step will be applying our clustering algorithm, which is K-means, and this is unsupervised technique. After data collection and cleaning, we will use RFM score, and we will calculate this score. And as I already mentioned, RFM contains 3 indicators, R, F, and M. For each indicator, we will assign a number between 1 and 4. 1, it's for the worst behavior of customer. 4, it's for the best behavior of customers. Then RFM score will be R plus F plus M. The result of applying RFM shown in this figure, and we can see that we obtained indistinct features, and segmenting customers is solely based on the monetary value. Also, the distribution of our result as shown here, it isn't normal. So we try to apply new function, which is the Cox box transformation function, in order to normalize our data, and then we obtained a normal distribution. And now we can apply our k-means algorithm. After applying k-means algorithm, and we already chose the number of cluster k equal 4, the result shows that we obtained clear results. We already have now 4 clusters. The first one, cluster 0, present customers with low level of recency, frequency, and mortality value. So these customers are in risk to leave our system. Then cluster number 1 mentioned the customers with high level of recency, frequency, monetary value. So they are our loyal customer. Cluster 2 present the old customers, but with highest level of frequency and monetary value. So we can say that these customers are the best for business customers. The last cluster present new customers, and it's normal that the level of frequency and monetary will be very low. After analyzing our data, we came up with some solutions. Our solution varied with the category of customers, and these solutions can advertise companies in order to keep a strong and healthy relationship with their customers. For example, we propose some solutions like communicate more with customers, customized offer, presenting some discounts, exclusive offer, surprising some customers by presenting special offers, new products, introducing new products to this category of customers. Also, for new customers, we can send welcome messages, gifts to encourage purchases. And this is the end of our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Well concluded on time.
Hello everyone, I am Nadra and I am going to present.
Just give me the slide. Dr. Lupa, now.
Just click here, please.
This one? Yeah. A systematic review of artificial intelligence in teacher education, applications, tools, techniques, and topics studied from 2012 to 2022. And this study was completed in collaboration with people of diverse background, including Engineer Dr. Farid Hussain Mangi, Lubna Ali, and Dr. Lawrence Ibe. I have been working as lecturer in Pakistan at a women university, and I am also pursuing PhD in statistical modeling at KU Leuven, Belgium. So the theme is human machine learning and its interaction with. So what do you understand by this picture? So even if we have to write against AI or to suggest anything about this, to improve this, we need AI. So it has spread its roots everywhere. A study of Horizon report suggests that there will be increase in the use of AI up to 43% between 2018 and 2022. So when AI is used in teaching, it promotes creativity and it is considered an innovative teaching style. And the benefits of AI in teacher education are increased in pedagogical skills, higher order thinking skills, and efficient job performance. With this purpose, this study was conducted because there are very limited studies which are conducted on the teacher education program. Therefore, the research question was, what instances, techniques, and topics of AI are found in teacher preparation programs? The research methodology was systematic review. The data sources data was obtained from 3 databases, Science Direct, ERIC, and EBSCO. So there were total 22 studies which were included in this SLR, and the Boolean terms which were used to search the studies were artificial intelligence and teacher education. Study selection were all type of documents as long as they discuss the applications, instances, or were studied in the context of teacher education program. For data extraction, the title, author, country, discipline, purpose, methodology, results, and AI used was extracted. For quality assessment, there were different reviewers and descriptive statistics was used to analyze the data. So these are the characteristics of studies that most of the studies were conducted in Turkey, USA, and China. That is because these countries are in high rank in global innovative index, like USA on 2nd number, China on 8th, and Turkey is on 27th number. So this, you can see the year-wise distribution of the studies. It fluctuates, but from 2018 till 2022, it has increased, but there is less amount of studies in 2022 because this study was conducted in the mid of 2022. And these are the research methods used in the included studies. So most of the studies were done by using experiment, but if you see overall they were only survey, review, case study, or qualitative. That is because it is the initial and the beginning of AI, so experiments are very few. Now the applications of AI which were found through this systematic review is the first. In 5 studies it was found that virtual reality and simulation were used most. Virtual reality and simulation because they give the immersive experience that you are in that situation, teachers can practice in the classroom and make mistakes and learn from them without any harm to the real students. And computerized experts models and learning packages, we all do this like when we are in any exam or we are practicing. Though we know 99 plus 117 is 216, even then we use calculator to just confirm that. Because so in the review it was found that when teachers rely on the decisions of the learning model, computerized expert models, and machine learning and and artificial neural network, the 2 attributes assigned with this is prediction and pattern seeking. So in teacher education programs, they were used to predict the performance of teachers, to have them recruited in the teacher education programs and to recommend courses for them. And facial expression to identify if they are burnout or stress, to mitigate with those solutions. And we all are aware of flipped learning and blended learning. So application of AI in that was LMS. We all are aware of that learning management system. It is just one of the basic example of that. Collaborative concept mapping helps in promoting reflective learning and conceptual learning of teachers. Video annotation tools can also help teachers to make the videos interactive with small notes or clip arts for students. And Google Teachable machines to recognize the images. And TPEG, though it is not any tool or any other thing, but it involves technological, pedagogical and content knowledge of teachers, because if teacher only have technological knowledge but not content and pedagogical knowledge, then it will be of no use. So these were the applications of artificial intelligence in teacher education. Now moving forward, so social robots as well. The tools and techniques. So the implementation of AI is nearly impossible without the help of internet or web. Computer are also fundamental part of AI. Simulation and virtual role plays are also important, and techniques by using mobile, it is also possible. Artificial neural network, facial expression recognizer, flipped classroom promotes quality education, videos, machine learning and robots again. The topics, their interesting topics were found which were studied in teacher education program about AI. So affective skills. Affective skills are like emotions, classroom management or bullying, if any student is feeling bullying. So those problems were also solved by the use of AI. That how teachers were involved in virtual environment, so where they can practice that how can they solve the problems related to bullying or other problems. Teacher preparation, as I have mentioned earlier, to recruit them, to recommend courses based on machine learning and artificial neural network. Teachers were recommended the courses which are useful for them and based on their interest. Then to classroom management and language teaching. AI is very important in language teaching, that with social robots or anything you can interact with them without any hesitation. And predicting achievement as in machine learning and artificial neural network. Assessing teaching skills. Classroom questioning. Classroom questioning can be the level of the cognitive level of classroom questions can be analyzed by use of artificial neural network, that what type of questioning is being done in the classroom, whether it is according to higher order thinking skills or lower order thinking skills, and based on that data the classroom practices can be introduced. And mathematics education and collaboration. Based on these findings, SLR, this systematic literature review synthesized the evidence, identify gaps, offer recommendation, assess treatments and influence of teacher education program for the integration of artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence has the potential to improve the teacher education programs, and based on these findings, it is recommended to policy makers to incorporate technology in educational policies. For teacher education department to establish virtual and digital labs to train the teachers, and curriculum developers to include AI related courses for teacher education program, and software developers to collaborate with teachers and educationists to develop the software, and teachers to embrace technology and adapt to meet students' need. Finally, so this study provided a descriptive statistics or something, a ground to do further studies based on empirical data. This was all about this study. Thank you. If you have any questions.
Thank you for a nice presentation.
Thank you.
Now the floor is open for any question, any reflection, anything you would like to add or suggest. Yeah, please.
I'm just maybe simple question.
Yeah.
When you said bullying, What do you mean
Bullying. Bullying means like,
in terms of AI?
no, AI can be used to address the bullying. Like teachers can practice in the virtual environment where students are being bullied, and they can, on the basis of that situation, they develop the solution to address that bullying problem, and then they can implement in the real world to see the consequences, that what consequences of that decision is in virtual environment. So they can implement in the real environment.
There are
Yeah.
many projects related to bullying, harassment,
Yeah.
yes, and it's very easy to find them, yes, so
Yeah.
I recommend you strongly to investigate, especially maybe you should follow Erasmus Plus program. I was even the project manager of such project dedicated to bullying, yes.
Yeah.
Believe me, of course there are differences, the added value here, yes, but sometimes not the tool is the most important, but the objective, the aim, yes.
Yeah. Thank you for
Thank you.
that.
Any? Yeah, please.
Do you think it will bring transparency to the education system?
Yeah, because before going into the real world, like in the example of virtual reality, you are practicing it in virtual environment, and you already know the consequences. Instead of playing with the minds of the human individuals, you already have some experience of that what consequences it has.
So that means the teachers, at the same time students, they have to be careful what they are speaking, what they are talking about.
Yeah, yeah, because it has like ripple effects on everyone. If you are, yeah, if you are disturbing one individual, he or she will disturb another individual.
And moreover, they will save the data as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. One final question.
Yeah, just a quick question. Much has been said about the benefits of AI in education. Do you also foresee some challenges or specifically
Yeah,
consequences
yeah,
of
but
the use of AI on the learners?
yeah, but the first challenge was to find the studies related to AI in teacher education. Then after that, like second study could be done, that what could be the challenges, or what are the challenges explained in the literature about the disadvantage of AI in certain discipline.
Yeah, I don't know if the floor has any contribution to that. Do you imagine some consequences of the use of AI in education on the learners?
Thank you. I think now the time is over, and we will continue with the discussion during lunch break. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Okay. So we all know that the transport is the crucial for all the countries, yes? I'm sure that you know, maybe you know, that 80% of all transport is done by the sea. 80%. It doesn't matter if you have access to the sea or not. Yes, the most of goods are transported by the sea. The problem is about, especially when the governments are shaping the policies, yes, they must all the time track all the transport process. I'm sure that you know flight radar, it's a very, very similar web service, marine traffic, yes, you can check everything there, yes. Check the route of your plane, yes. In December we also look for Santa Claus there, yes. Okay. So one of the problems is also to estimate the pollution, yes, especially in maritime transport. This paper comes from an idea of the project which was realized in my former workplace, Maritime University of Szczecin in Poland. It was in the cooperation with Central Statistical Office in Poland, which is responsible for all the official statistics. Each year they publish the handbooks, yes, so everything, every data that is necessary is published. They're official, they work with the government, yes. So in Poland, we want to estimate the ship exhaust emissions in the region of the Polish seaports. There are 4 important ports in Poland. Świnoujście and Szczecin. This is the first. This is officially it's one port, but they lie 100 kilometers from each other. Yes. Here, maybe you know Gdańsk, because it's a very famous city. The Second World War began here. and Gdynia. Yes, there are also some several minor ports, but these 4 are the most important. Okay, the most of data comes from an automatic identification system. IIS is a device that each ship should be equipped with. Yes, all the passenger ships and almost all the cargo ships. Only small boats, they don't need to have AIS. Yes? Here you have some examples of the data which can be read from AIS systems. First importance type of the ship, deadweight tonnage, gross tonnage, net tonnage, length, width, even length, width is very important. Timestamp, current latitude, current longitude, current speed over ground, current course over the ground, and we have 4 outputs. Yes? Nitrogen oxides, sulfur oxides, particulate matters, and carbon dioxide. These are the 4 most important chemical substances that should be considered in the estimating the exhaust emission. Okay, usually to estimate the emission, you need the description, we need to have the detailed description, the official documentation of the engine of the ship. Yes? For example, if you want to buy a car, yes, you can see the documentation, how much fuel does it consume, yes, what are the emissions, and so on. Such informations, in the case of a ship, are not so easy to obtain. Why? Because the life cycle of the ship is longer than for a car, yes? It is nothing surprising to find a ship on the sea that it is, I don't know, 20 or 30 years old. You can't be sure what the engine was installed first, but probably it was completely removed and the new one was installed, yes? And in addition, you need to pay for this documentation. Of course, if you have access to such documentation, usually it is called in the Lloyd's register. Lloyd's is the biggest insurance company which deals with maritime transport. Of course, we need to pay them a lot of money. But there are models which are ready. Yes? For example, STEM model is very popular. The other problem is the region of the reservoir where we are, which we analyze. Because the emission of the pollution can be different on the Atlantic Ocean, different on the Mediterranean Sea, because the speed, yes, and the amount of cargo may be different. Also, the legal aspects are important here. For example, in such regions like English Channel, yes, in maritime, the seamen, they don't say La Manche Channel, but they say English Channel, yes, or other Gibraltar, Singapore Strait. Yes, the traffic is controlled by vessel traffic systems. So you can do whatever you wish in such regions, because in other ways the consequences will be very serious. So sometimes we don't have access to such data. Yes, so we can collect data from automatic identification system, and the problem is that we have to build a model. Yes, and in this project we decided to use the neural networks. This was a typical regression problem, but multidimensional, of course. That's why it was quite difficult. Okay, here's the simple diagram of this hybrid model. We have 2 models. One is specific and one is reference model. Yes, we obtain AIS messages. If the input parameters are correct, then we can check if the model specific is correct. This is the model STEM with the access to Lloyd's register. Yes? If we have such chip on the list, then the estimation is very fast. Yes, because we have official documentation and the final result should be similar to what can be found in the documentation. But there are more ships on the sea. We have only maybe 50 to 60 on our list. Sometimes they are not interesting for us because they usually come, for example, to our country only once a year. Yes. So if we don't have on the list, we don't want to pay for this, we can use reference model, which was the neural network. Okay. So here we have examples. What kind of informations are provided by our model? First, the emission of pollutants in seaports, monthly by pollutant category or by ship type, carbon dioxide, sulfur oxides, nitrogen oxides, particulate matters, and of course daily. Yes, because also the daily pollution is also important. Yes, if the pollution is too high, then we must limit the traffic. And of course, it is all related not only with the problem with the traffic, but also this is the problem with the money, yes? Because the costs are very high. The ship owners want the ships to stay in the port as short as possible because it is costful. Here you have some examples. Maybe these models are working in the real time. They're accessible on the website of Central Statistical Office in Poland. Here we have only 2 examples, but you can find more examples on the website. Unfortunately, it's only in Polish, but the access is very easy. Yes, because it's a Polish statistical office. Okay, we're finishing. On the first picture, you can see emission of carbon dioxide in port of Szczecin. Szczecin is a city located about 150 kilometers from Berlin. And emission of sulfur oxides in Szczecin port. Okay. Maybe this model was about a specific port, specific region, but these are only numbers. It can be applied almost everywhere. Yes, but first of all, we need the access to the data. And I think that's all. And also, of course, we may try to improve the parameters of the model, yes? We can take into our consideration more ports, yes? Anyway, the statistical data are very important, yes? Especially for the governments which shape the policy, yes? For the transport policy for the country. As I said before, that 80% of the transport is done by the sea. So that's why the estimation of the not only emission of pollution, yes, but also other things. Another part of this project was also the estimation of cargo transport and the number of the passengers. Yes. Okay, so that's all. I hope that this presentation was interesting. If you have any questions.
Thank you for the nice presentation, Dr. Marius, and of course it was interesting. And now floor is open for questions, any reflections?
Yeah, we don't have a lot of time, yes, so I invite for a wider discussion during the break. Yes.
So, if any question? No? Yeah, please.
You could use remote sensing like GPS satellite to measure, for example, if you don't have the access to the data instead of man-made.
But the data comes from AIS, and AIS is connected to GPS. Yes, GPS provides the position to automatic identification system. Yes, GPS, GLONASS, and Beidou.
So is it confidential, or you have the access?
And in general, AIS is public transmission. Yes, of course it is encrypted, but it is very easy to decode because the algorithm you can find even in the internet. So there is no.
It usually belongs to the Ministry of Defense.
No. It's only for transport. Yes, sometimes AIS is even turned off in some reservoirs. For example, near to Eritrea when the piracy, yes, when the piracy phenomenon can be met, so the ships, they were very often they turn the AIS off. In the ports also the ships sometimes turn off the AIS because the transmission may interference on other transmissions, yes. But the ship must know, the captain of the ship must know the position, so GPS is something obvious in maritime transport, yes.
Thank you. Thank you for.
Thank you.
Yeah, good day to all. So my title is Multilingual Conversational Cognitive Artificial Intelligence. So how that diabetics or any kind of disease, how can we rectify using that multilingual things? So that's what my topics. It's related to healthcare industries related cases. So what from this study, what we are going to tell, the project design. What kind of the project design it is means, the project design which is helpful in the diabetic care or any disease, how we can help, how we can interact to the patient. So that's what we in that study we are trying to give the solution. Related to that, and also we use that average score, average opinion score. So that's we are providing, that's helpful to get an idea about that. So that's why we are providing average opinion score also. And also we can recommend this project design can include any of the healthcare industries. It's really helpful. So that's what we are done this kind of design. So the multilingual now for the time being we used only in that English and Tamil. Only these two language we try to use it. In future we are add many of the language. So any patient if they are asking anything, any queries, then the communication from AI, they can give the reply. Using that AI, it's reply via that particular language. That's what our plan. So that's a project design what we have done. So what the problem having that, the problem identification, that's what I mentioned in that introductions. The problem identification means like the diabetics, it's a quickly increasing rate. World Health Organization, it's mentioned that according to that, they mentioned that the death rate, it's a diabetics in the 7th rank. It's really, it's a easy to, the diabetics is what we have mentioned, it's a easy to manage, but still the death rates are more higher. So for that purpose, we can use that AI techniques to handle these things. So that's what we use this one. So particularly mentioned that mortality rate increased in 5%. That is cases. And what is the other problem here? It is means most of the diabetics patient, they are not uninformed of their illness, and the same thing, inadequate health management. If they properly manage that, it's easy to handle that diabetics things. The problem here is self-care. It's not properly done. That is a problem they are facing. So that one we can easily give that solution using artificial intelligence. So that is a project planning what we have done. So here we can use that self-management solution via that artificial intelligence. So using that artificial intelligence, how we can give that self-management means the platform and telemedicine among these categories, how we can manage that means interactive agent, using artificial intelligence, interactive agent. So any queries the patient asks, we can give the answer not only as a text, we can give the answer like a audio type of way. So that is a thing for the time being we used the reply, we can give it as a speech in English or Tamil for the time being. In future we plan all the language, whatever the language they like, we can provide that kind of language. That's what the plan. Sorry. Yeah. So the interactive agent architecture. For the interactive agent, we follow the the architecture having 3 layers. One is the presentation, another one is log, and another one is data. The presentation layer, there is an interaction. The patient, it start the queries. They can ask the queries. So that is a first stage. Then using that interface, we can use the logic. Using that logic, what we are doing, that interactive agent, it's try to get that answer for that and provide the proper way. And also we are record that what all the answers we are given. So that one also we are recording using data. So it's helpful for that in future, and recording that all the long term or short term, and which one we need to update or which one we need to avoid, all the things we can maintain using this data in that database. So that is a 3-level architecture. We follow the 3-level architecture to sort out that. That's we can handle in that interactive agent architecture. So for that purpose, what kind of method, what kind of algorithm I'm using here means that is with the help of Chung developed the equation that is gated recurrent unit. Gated recurrent unit, it's a kind of neural network algorithm, recurrent neural network algorithm. Using this concept, what we are doing, what all the queries they are asking, that one we are maintaining in input gate, and what all the queries we need to update or what all the queries we need to delete, that one we have to maintain in that another gate that is called monitoring or update gate. Then last one is output gate. So that is a 3-way we are maintaining. So that is the equation what we are using here. So it's a BT is load the present instant, and JT and R2 current and reset the gate. If it's not necessary, then we can reset. And if it is very useful queries they are asking, then we can update it. Then we can finally give the output. So that's what we can. So it will continuously storing. So we will get that after that few years later, we have a very good history of data. So whatever the queries they are asking the patient, we have an answer for that in audio file. That's what the logic, it's that. So that's a neural network concept, neural network algorithm we used it. So here that text to audio conversion. For that purpose, it's already so many tools are available. So here I'm using that MELD spectrogram is the tools that we have used, and there is a encode and decode options. So encode is the user is asking questions, and that one is transfer, and the text is convert as a audio. So that one, every segment it's split like a linear program, like that. It's split that every segment wise the audio conversion it's happening, then it's deliver the proper output. So that is a systems we have done. So here how we can done means we used the data. For the time being, we used only that 6,300 sentence. So the data set which I used in IMDA, that is a Infocom Media Data Authority. From there I used that data set. That data set I used that is 6,300 sentence. Then we tried it, how it's really help or how it is really working. So that's what we have checked it. That is a sample size we have used and a total duration. This is the trained data we used. It's a kind of supervised learning method. That's what we used it here. So using this method, we trained the data, how it is working and all these things. So how it's worked. That's what here we given that average opinion score. So using that average opinion score, you can see here the metrics. What are the metrics we have used? Genuineness, accent, and audio quality. How the audio quality. That one we checked with 3 categories. The first category is what exactly that already available in the data set. Then we verified that metrics. Then similar related. It's not exact that queries are available, but it's related queries there. So that one also we have done the metrics. Then some of the query it's not exactly there and it's unseen. It's there, that query is not related to that, but still how the system will work, how it will give the answer, how it's tried to answer it. So that's what it's showing, that unseen content. So we are getting this metrics related average score. Then based on that, scale of the system reliability. For the time being, I'm not used many people to get the feedback. For the time being, I just used 1,000 feedback from the diabetics. From the diabetics patient, I just get that feedback from only that 1,000 to 1,200 kind of diabetics people. So that is SSR rate what we have given. From that, we got a very good output. So more than 80% diabetics, they feel it's very good. So it's more interactive and given a proper answer. So that's a thing we are trying to implement into the next level. So from that, what we are going to conclude, so healthcare in interactive, healthcare in interactive agent. So that is, it's suggested through the interactive in AI system that may provide a beneficial guidance with the developer. And what we really mentioned here, it is the self-care management and individualized attention are required, and we can recommend this kind of process. We can use it in many other healthcare field. That's what we recommend. In future, we can use it, this kind of audio-based replay. We can give it and make it more motivate the patient or motivate or some kind of notification. All this thing is easily possible via that neural network concept and all this thing. Thank you.
Thank you for a nice presentation.
Thank you.
Now floor is open for any question, any remark, suggestion.
Yes.
So first of all, thank you for the presentation. I'd like to find out, even with languages, let's use Germany as an example. Language actually changes within every part of the country.
Yes.
So do we actually foresee a situation where a particular language may be misinterpreted, probably when it comes to predicting diseases, and then probably give wrong diagnosis or something like that?
Yeah, it's very easy nowadays because after this AI, nowadays it's suppose if you ask this question in 5 years before, it's very tough things. But now it's very easy. Lot of language transfer tools are available. That is also in AI. Even if you try in ChatGPT, also you know that if you ask the same answer in a different language, ChatGPT is giving. So almost we are in the way. What we are asking, that one on the way. So surely in future we can easily do such kind of things, and it's really helpful for virtual receptionist to help the patient. The patient has no need to wait for a long time. So which language they prefer? First AI will ask which language you prefer. Then the patient is mentioned, I want this language, means can get the answer from that. So it's not so long time. It will happen very soon.
Supporting that, nowadays, before you prescribe, you need to do lab tests.
Yes, yes.
AI is just an interactive.
Yes, yes.
So where does the lab test fit into the?
Yeah, here we use the data set. Using the data set, we train that AI. Like we used for the time being 6,000 kind of queries and how it is answered. So that is a test we have done. Here, what is the main thing is important to store the history, how it is replayed. Then we need to verify whether the replay is right or wrong. That one we need to replay. Then if it is unnecessary, then we can remove it. Or if it is a good one, then we can update it. So that is the way it's a process. It's a long process. So it's just started that 6,000. So within 1 or 2 years later, if we continue that, we will get millions of queries and corresponding answer. So automatically we will get a very best answer, very exact optimum solution we can get it.
I want to add on this one. Today morning I read one article that now AI from MRI, the thoughts will be converted into the language.
Great.
So I don't think so. We need to ask someone.
Yes, yes. That one, yeah, that one is really helpful. Those who are in dumb and deaf and this kind of people, they are thinking something and you have to do that. That is also, that's what I mentioned. These techniques we can, interactive agent, these techniques, these kind of things we can use it in many field, many healthcare field we can possibly use it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you.
So thank you very much, Dr. Shiv. Now, I'm going to talk about ChatGPT. One moment, Professor. Just one moment. Yeah. Okay. So specifically want to look at exploration of the applications, challenges, And we will talk about some remedies behind controversies perhaps that you have heard so much about. It must be said that there are lots of benefits about ChatGPT. By the way, who has not heard about ChatGPT here? Anyone? Okay. Everyone has. Okay. I need this. Okay. We want to talk about what it means, applications, look at benefits, and we'll talk about the challenges. Now, we'll mention some of the controversies perhaps that you have heard about in the media and how we can remedy these controversies. As you can see here, among all the major apps that perhaps that you have used, ChatGPT is the one that reached the first 1 million users among all these apps. For 5 days, it got to 1 million users. And that means there's need to talk about ChatGPT. As you can also see here, we had about 1.9 billion total visits. And all these statistics point to the fact that everyone wants to know what ChatGPT offers. Now, what is ChatGPT? It's a natural language processing tool driven by AI, human-like conversations, and much more than chatbot that you have heard about. The difference is that chatbot is pre-programmed, but ChatGPT has the ability to generate its conversations. That's a clear difference. G represents it's generative, pre-trained. What this means is that it's pre-trained before it's let loose or released as an output. And also, it has an inbuilt technology called attention transformer. As you can see here, ChatGPT, of course, developed by OpenAI, hosts popular AI tool, and it has become one of the most visited sites, as I've already mentioned. About 1.8 billion monthly visits. That's strange, we must say. All our children, all our kids, all our youths are going to ChatGPT. Then what does it offer? There are diverse applications. Of course, content creation for education purposes, and which could be connected to what you're working on, the robot. Proofreading and grammar correction. And of course, social media management, whether it's content creation of the use of YouTube videos, copy variations for pay-per-click ad, or even a blog post on trending topic. ChatGPT offers these applications and many more. Now, looking at the specific benefits, of course, as opposed to minor conversations, there is increased efficiency, improvement in terms of accuracy, and cost savings. I tell you a short story. I was going to change my line in Germany, and I bought a line that offers me unlimited gigabytes. And I ran into some issues. I needed to talk to the customer services. And I searched throughout the web. I never got any telephone number, no email. I only got just a WhatsApp number. And I tried to test. It was a robot that was responding. And, well, I could get some guides, but it was not enough. That tells you, because why they have to do that is because imagine if you have to customer service, you have to talk to 1 million users. That would be almost impossible. So it saves costs. Now, what about the challenges? There is a major challenge of information gathering where malicious intent leads people to generate information. There is also malicious tests. ChatGPT's key feature has a clear ability of generating tests, like I've already said, and people have used it for diverse means, even for harmful purposes. There is also private data disclosure issues. You may have heard about the March 20 event this year, where a bug was found, and the problem was that people were seeing other users' chat history. Now, coming to the controversies. In the media, you may have heard of lots of them. Some of them talking about students cheating in assignments using ChatGPT, errors, mistakes. And OpenAI even recently admitted that there is a major issue of promotion of racial and gender bias. Now, hear this. This was a tweet that was made by Elon Musk himself on December 3rd, 2022. And he had this to say. He said, ChatGPT is a scary good. We are not far from dangerously strong AI. And if you read about the profile of the founders of OpenAI, you realize that Elon Musk was one of the CEOs before he quit. So for him to have had this to say, it means that there are issues. But I think we have two main solutions. I see twofold solutions. One will be regulations, and another will be technology. Many nations of the world are now beginning to enact regulations and laws that will control the AI supply chain, the value chain of AI, from production to usage. For example, there's a popular regulation, the European AI Act. Then the second aspect, like I said, is the use of technology. But above all, is a technology that have come to stay. All we need to do is to think of mitigation measures. And I think scientists should begin to explore how we can curb the problems that will come. Because whether you like it or not, ChatGPT has come to stay. So the conversation continues. Thank you so much.
Well in time. Thank you for nice presentation.
Yeah.
And now floor is open.
Yeah.
If any questions,
Professor,
any reflections, any remarks. Yeah, please.
Yes.
Thank you, Professor, for the information. I really like how you explained it. My question would be regarding search engines. Do you think ChatGPT will replace search engines in general, seeing that people like Google or Microsoft are introducing Bing and Bard as their operating system in order to strive for, instead of you doing a personalized search on Google that we usually do, to start using this kind of learning language models instead? Do you think search engine will be dead and it's just we're gonna rely on things like ChatGPT? That's my first, and a follow-up question would be, what kind of regulations should be placed in place when it comes to how the states or the countries regulate the usage of AI for private information, for military information, and all of these sort of topics that are at a country level?
So I will start with the last. So the last question you are asking in terms of regulations. What type of regulation?
What sort of regulations do you think will come up from country-wise, not so much for personal experiences, but from
Okay.
governments?
Any input? One input before I respond? He's asking what type of regulations. Because whether you like it or not, there has to be regulations to regulate all this. Otherwise, I said to a friend recently, if you use Google, use Gmail, you don't have privacy. There is nothing like privacy again, whether you like it or not. So any input? So I think that it's a bit controversial. We have a school of thought that says that technology has come to stay. You can't sniff in technology with regulations. There is another school of thought that says we should regulate, okay? And it depends on how democratic the country is, but I would say that there should be regulation, but we should not sniff in technology because it is what it is. Imagine leaving your house to the office without your telephone. You feel as if you don't have your shoes. Yeah, on. That's what it is. Yeah? Sorry?
And your wife is at home.
Oh, yeah. He said you think your wife is at home. So, so the second one is technology. It's I would say it's the development of technology. It's ongoing. It never ends. It's just like conducting a research. You did a fantastic PhD research, and so, oh, this is awesome. 2 years later, it's like, is it me that wrote this? But you got a distinction, but you're like, okay, you would have done better. That's the way it is. So it keeps improving, right? So we had ChatGPT, chatbot, ChatGPT is now better, yeah? Someday, like Professor Kuriakos said downstairs, it could be 2 years' time, technology we have now would have changed. I think it was Sagi that said it. So if we want to develop courses, we should just think of maybe 15 years. And that's all, because the next 15 years, we should have new courses. Yeah. So it keeps going.
Thank you,
Yeah.
and I think this is such an interesting topic.
Yeah.
We can continue for hours with questions. So maybe during tea break or sometime later we can catch up. Thank you so much for nice presentation. And now,
You're welcome.
I invite.
Hello, everyone. Great to be with you. Thank you very much for being here. Actually, this is somehow in connection with what discussion I had with my colleagues about a few weeks ago on faculty development series on my own philosophy is called nominal conceptualism, but of course I'm going on another way. So first of all, nominal conceptualism is my philosophy. That's why whatever I talk about is relied on nominal conceptualism. It took me 7 years to come up with what I call nominal conceptualism during my PhD and during my postdoctoral research. And the conclusion has been around a number of articles and book chapters which I have characterized the concept of nominal conceptualism. That's why I do not want to talk directly about what I mean by NC, but I want to tell you what logic I have designed based on the nominal conceptualism, which is called conception language. So conception language is a kind of formal representation model for ontology representation based on semantics-based systems that is relied on conceptions of cognitive or knowledge agents. So let me go forward and tell you what I mean by nominal conceptualism. The concept of concept has been a very crazy concept over history, actually, over years. We do not know what concepts are. You are daily using the concept of concept, but you cannot really say what is the meaning of a concept. Some people say this is a picture, some people say this is a word, but according to a lot of philosophers and linguists and social philosophers and linguists, actually philosophers of mind and cognition and language, it can be summarized that the concept of concept is a integration among some mental pictures and some symbolic linguistic expressions that you have in your mind. So when I say tree, you all have a concept, a picture of a tree in your mind, and this is correlated with your, of course, first of all, your natural language, the word tree, or any word that you have in your own language. So based on my own definition, concept is a mental representation of cognitive or knowledge agent which has been created based on some state of awareness over time. Now I have an awareness. I'm correlated to the environment. I'm talking to different people. I'm getting affected. That's why I'm making some pictures in my mind. So relying on that, I would want to say, what is my definition of conception? Conception is what I express based on my own mental pictures. For example, I ask someone, what do you mean by this? I don't want to go to the concept of meaning again today because the meaning is a matter of semantics and interpretation. I'm just talking about the syntax of my language. When I say, what is your conception of something, you are trying to define something, and in fact, in the language of my conception language, you are going to make a kind of conception definition between one word and one description. For example, I ask you, what is your conception of BSBI? All of you are going to say some words. There is an interconceptional function between a definition into a concept and vice versa to that one. That is what I mean conception. So first of all, I want to say what is the meaning of my conception language or CL. My conception language is defined based on, like many other languages, based on two symbolic, in fact, representations, logical and non-logical, in fact, symbols. My conception language is a fragment of description logic, and it is derived out of semantic networks and concept maps from 1970s, the very crazy history. All people who are concerned with modern cybernetics and the modern artificial intelligence, they know 1970s is a crazy time. I do not know what happened between 1960s and 1980s. But 1970 is the critical point based on that artificial intelligence became artificial intelligence. So my logic is first of all based on non-logical symbols. What are the non-logical symbols in my language? First of all, atomic conception, like conception of the concept book that all of you have in your mind. And if I want to transform it into some machine's knowledge base, I need to know how a machine is trying to define the concept of book. The second one, atomic conceptions effect, like conception of writing a book, a role which is connected to the central concept. The third one is called atomic conceptions instance, like conception of some individual book. So these are the fundamental vocabularies which all are in fact non-logical, because none of them are logical. They are having no truth or falsity. But what about the logical symbols of my language? First of all, conception negation, the conception of something which is not book. I don't say something which is not book, conception of not book. The second one is conception of book and paper. There is a conjunction between two conceptions of two different concepts. The third one, conception of book or pen, one of them. This is a disjunction, and I need to select one of them. Conception universal quantification, like conception of all books in the world. And the next one, conception existential quantification, or conception of some specific books in the world. So these are the fundamental logical components of my conception language. And in addition, I have conception truth or conception falsity, the conception of being book and the conception of not being book. These are the most important logical symbols which are defined in the concept of semantics of a conception language. In addition, conception equality, which is a very interesting topic, and when I'm making a kind of is-a, this is the matter of all concept maps and semantic networks in the world, that I'm making a transformation among a book and some definition like a collection of written sheets. This is the other concept. And finally, the conception subsumption, like conception that book is an object or something. Maybe someone say book is something. So this is a kind of subsumption, and also conception assertion. In the language of artificial intelligence, these two are called T-box or terminological box. And this one is called A-box or assertional box, because this is a matter of terminology and this is a matter of assertion and description. So if I want to come up with why we need some of these, because I need to construct, expand, go for conception, opposition, classification, characterization. These are what my logic is supporting. All of these are supported by logic, which is called conception language. In addition, I'm supporting the effects of concepts in all these forms. So finally, this is an ontology, which has been described by means of my logic. All of these are the components of conceptions of cognitive or knowledge agents, which are describable based on the logical and non-logical symbols that I presented. This means that my logic is concentrated on the concept of relationship, because everything is a relationship between you and what you want to express, a concept, and you, what you want to express based on that. So this is, as a last word, 15 seconds, this is just the actually ontology, a specification of conceptualization of my language and how it can change the future of multi-agent systems. And now I am also dealing with how it can be concerned with other modern, actually, knowledge representation formalisms. But this logic has been also verified, validated. This is a subclass of description logics and also a subclass of first order predicate logic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sunshine.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And now, if anyone question or reflection or remarks.
So you're basically, there's a lot of this is related to or based on first order logic, clearly.
Absolutely.
So what reasoning do you carry out in your system? Do you carry out any formal reasoning, semantic or syntactic reasoning?
This is a very good point, actually. As you know, reasoning is just a matter of semantics. So I need an interpretation. Interpretation means that I need some functions that can support the description of all these concepts in my system. What would be some specific scenarios? Like some reasoning based on what this guy means by what he expressed yesterday. Because there are some concepts and some conception of me based on what he expressed, and some subsumptions and qualities and inequalities that they come all together. Reasoning is nothing but searching through all concepts and their subsumptions and their actually inclusions among different descriptions. The reason behind the description and the validation of such a logic was actually some reasoning and argumentation based on multi-agent systems, especially when a human and a machine are coming together. My main belief behind the definition of conception was that we need to make a logic for making human beings and machines closer to each other, that we need to make a common ground for interoperability in different semantic systems.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Professor. Nice to see you. My question is regarding concepts. I saw in the presentation that you said that concepts can be updated or deleted. I was wondering what kind of functions or validations you carry out in order to update a concept or to delete it, and how it affects the whole logic of the general conceptualization you may have on this model.
Yeah, very good question. Actually, according to my logic, concept is a conceptual entity. I don't want conceptual because this is a redundancy here. I would say a mental entity, which is always being mapped into each other. This is something like a self-growing up phenomenon that is based on the feedback of the world and interaction to the world is growing up. That's why concepts are sending feedback to themselves and then they are growing up, like your conception of BSBI today and your conception of BSBI next week. That is all the time is growing up.
Thank you. And one final question.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Professor, for the presentation. I cannot help but asking, when you say the word logic, and it is so loaded word, and it's coming from philosophy. I'm interested in philosophy myself. So this word is very loaded. And so I have to ask you, when you say logic, what kind of logic is that? Is it
Rationalism.
inductive,
Rationalism.
or inductive logic? What kind
Of
logic?
course, inductive logic.
It's
I am not interested in deductive logic. Very good question. I am not interested in deductive logic. I'm interested in informal and inductive logics.
Yeah, that's fair.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And hello, everyone. So, my paper is all about using neural networks, and especially deep neural networks or deep learning techniques for producing or generating new images. And we will talk about the applications of deep neural networks in producing cinematic visual effects. Before talking about the application of deep neural networks, let me just tell you a little bit about the difference between a normal artificial intelligence algorithm and neural networks. This term, AI or artificial intelligence, existed for many years, and you all know when a computer or a machine tries to act like a human. We call it just artificial intelligence. But these days, it's a little bit different. We call it neural networks or deep learning. There is a difference, actually. In normal AI algorithms, we try to explicitly write a program, for example, a computer code. And in conventional computer codes, we write lots of if and else statements. For example, if something happened, then please do something else. Yeah? In neural networks, we try to mimic the human brain. Yeah? We try to design an algorithm which is able to learn. Actually, we try to give the computers the ability of learning something. Yeah? So how it works? Just imagine that neural networks are like a black box, like a black box which is able to learn like our brain. Yeah? Then you provide some inputs and outputs. You ask your neural network to take this input and learn to generate this expected output. Yeah? That's how it works. And every time it gives you a correct prediction, the correct output, you give it a reward. And whenever it makes a mistake, then you punish the neural network, and it will learn based on this punishment and awards to produce something new. That's the main idea. So we actually, or all the computer scientists or those who are working on machine learning, or we can just call them machine learning engineers, our job is really simple, actually. We just provide input images and output images. Then we define a neural network in between, like a black box. Then we ask it to learn something. It sometimes takes 6 months for a neural network to learn a model. Yeah? But that's fine. During those 6 months, we will get paid. Yeah? That's a really simple job. That's why we like neural networks. So how can we use this idea in producing cinematic visual effects or generating something new? In this area, experts were trying to process images and videos frame by frame. Yeah? And it was really frustrating. Yeah? I have a few samples here. Let me just show you. It was just the instruction. So they just put some white spots here, then record his face and try to turn it to something else, convert it to something else frame by frame. And it may take 10 days or maybe 11 days for converting this image to that one. But these days, thanks to neural networks and deep neural networks, we don't need to do that. Yeah? And we don't even need to stick this white spot on someone's face to detect the landmarks or the different part of a face. Yeah? With neural networks, we can detect it, and once we detect it, once we detect the facial expressions of a face of a man, then we can ask another neural network to generate or reproduce another image like this. Yeah, that's all the neural networks, and we are not gonna explicitly program it. We are not processing frame by frame. Yeah, that's all about neural network. But what can it do exactly? So this is the I can say traditional AI algorithm. Here is our input. We try to extract features manually. There would be some mathematical formula or algorithm, or maybe a small neural network to process this input and make an output. Yeah? But here in deep neural networks, we just have input and output. And the computer will decide how to process this image in between. Yeah? We are not going to make that decision. Actually, it's an advantage, but it could be a disadvantage of these models, because if this machine does something wrong, we cannot fix it. We should destroy the algorithm completely and train it again. Yeah? And we like neural networks because they are really scalable. Just imagine a normal Python code. Then maybe you can write 1,000 if and else statements to control a machine. Yeah, not more than 1,000. It's not scalable. But with neural networks, we can have millions of neurons, and we do nothing. Yeah, we just wait for the machine to learn. Yeah, that's why we like them. That's why we can have large language models like ChatGPT or any other chatbots. Yeah. So we can actually. The neural network that we are using here is exactly the same as maybe ChatGPT. Yeah? This neural network is exactly the same, but the input and output is different, so the model learns something different. It means that you design a black box, a neural network, you put it there. You don't need to change it. It's like a child brain. Then you just change the input and output. It learns something different. The next time you provide, random input and ask it to, generate a music, it learns how to generate music. Yeah, that's all about input and output. The core of this neural network is, it could be always the same, or it could be same for 2 different tasks. So these are application of deep neural networks in producing, visual effects. We can use it for image and video processing. All of them. I have a few samples here for denoising super resolution. Super resolution means taking a really low, resolution image and, double it by the size. Deblurring, facial animation, they use these kind of techniques for creating deepfake videos. I hope you know these kind of videos. It's really famous and really interesting. The fluid dynamic simulation, I will show you an example of this one, and a style transfer. For example, you can take the picture of an actor and you can just transfer the makeup of this actor to someone else. Yeah? This is called a style transfer. You transfer the style of an image to another image. Yeah? And you know how it works. You provide a data set with labels, the actor with the makeup and someone without makeup, and the machine learns how to do that for us. For example, denoising example, I hope it's clear to everyone. See, there are lots of noise on this image, and using neural network, you can just simply denoise it. Yeah? Or look at this image, look at the text over this image. Using normal AI algorithms, we cannot clearly removing this text from this image, but thanks to neural networks, we can. Example of super resolution, the left side, low resolution image, right side, regenerated image. Example of deblurring. Here, example of deepfake videos. You may have seen this video on YouTube. You can just search it and find it. And this one, facial animation. It tries to extract the, the features of your face. Yeah. And for training this model, let me just give you an example. We will provide a bunch of, low resolution images. We ask the neural network to resize this image for us and produce the output. Then we compare the output of our model with the expected output, or we call it ground truth. Yeah? We ask it to compare it with the original image, the expected output. If we find any difference, then we will return a punishment to our model. Then it will learn based on these punishments and rewards. Then after maybe 2 months of waiting and training this model, it learns how to do this task without our help. Yeah? That's all about neural networks. This is another example. This is really interesting. This is a still image. Yeah? It's not a movie, nothing. You just take this image, draw some arrows like this, and ask it to make it an animation. Let me just play it for you, and this is the output. Do you see the output? Again, the same strategy, the same algorithm. We have input image, expected output, we train it for a few months, wait for it, after a few months it would be able to generate that for us. Another example, see, this is actually fake video. It was not a movie. It's generated based on an image. That's fine. Future challenges, data limitation. For training a deep neural network, we sometimes need millions of images. For example, for training ChatGPT, they needed all the contents available on the internet. So we have data limitation. Not all the data would be available at the time. Real-time performance, neural networks are not real-time. You train it and use it as an offline model. Yeah, it's not connected to internet. We have something online. We have something named online learning, but it's not that much accurate. Generalization and adaptability, we have a term named overfitting problem. If you know that, you can understand adaptability. Ethics and responsible use. You know that neural networks could be dangerous, yeah? There's no need to explain it, actually. Yeah, that's it. Do you have any question?
Thank you.
Question? Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
We can take one or two questions or any reflection, any suggestion. Yeah, please.
Sure.
Excuse me, I think I didn't get that part that you said the machine would learn itself how to do that process for us. How can it learn itself?
That's a really deep question. You should know a little bit about mathematics, but do you know about regression models or something? Yeah, a neural network is built on top of the idea of regression models. Yeah, it randomly, I don't know how to explain it. We have something like like the neurons that we have in our brain. These kind of algorithms, they try to mimic that functionality. And these kind of neurons, they are acting like a regression model in mathematics. So if you can implement that in computers, then it can learn. Yeah? For getting the answer of that question, you should take one of my classes in Fundamental of Data Analytics. We explain it there for 10 sessions. Yeah, but it's possible right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
One final.
Yeah.
Professor, you showed a lot of images. Like,
Yep.
I'm assuming these are AI-generated images.
Yes.
So, I don't know, because I used a lot of AI-generated images, like Delhi, Stable Diffusion, and also Midjourney. They have problem with the hands. Why do you think that is? Like, the hands is always distorted.
Why do you say they have problem with hands?
With the hands.
They cannot recognize
They don't
hands?
generate the hands, like the hands is always distorted. Like the hands with, like a hand with 6 fingers or 7 fingers, or the hand is a. Why do you think the machine is not?
Actually, I think the
why
problem.
the hands is problem to the machine?
I think the problem is not with their model, because their model is generative enough. It can generate anything. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the problem is with their data set. Maybe the model is not trained with enough data. If you provide enough data, I don't know, I should check that, but probably it could be possible, because the generating hand needs.
After this. So thank you so much.
I will answer this question later. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I know you are very happy because this is the last presentation. Thank you so much for making me so popular. Because, yeah, I know when you were looking at everything, you were looking definitely for the last one. So you are familiar with me. But might be here, this is me, human being. Believe me, after 10 years, we will be categorized into 2 things. One will be AI, one human being. So I started from on. Yeah, let's do that from today onwards. So I categorized myself human being, right? So let's start with a story. Once upon a time, when I was young, I'm still young, but you can consider, like in 2010, I have a family business of manufacturing. So when this AI conference, they announced it, so I started thinking, and I thought, charity begins at home. Let's take the data from home. No data privacy concern or anything. So I called my cousin, and I tried to figure it out how I can make it more interesting with this one. So in 2008, when I joined my family business, believe me, I was traveling from this area to this area. Every day I was driving to check the production quality. That was the biggest problem at that time. That time I never thought about that AI will be introduced. It is really late. Really, I struggled a lot in this time. 2 years I traveled like that, just to check the production quality. So this is how, when I called my cousin, we used to work like this way. So I called him and I asked him, are you still working like this way? So he said, no. We are working right now within this way. So I'll show you a small clip, then I will tell you what changes they made. So this is a CNC machine that they are using for the production. And it is our in-house production that is going on. It is just one of the machines example. This is, we call it IoT 4.0. First you have a look, then I will tell you how they have invested so much money. So everything is actually done automatically, and you can see even the extra material. It is inside the machine. Later on they are using it. They are cutting the cost of labor. They are cutting the cost of everything just by the automation. Now they have improved with this one. They really invested a lot. So I'm happy, I'm glad, but I'm also sad at the same time why they did so later on, because it was so difficult for me during that time to travel. So this is how the industrialization has been evaluated. Now the thing is that talking, communication. Human communication is important, right? When we were talking about the COVID situation, it was really a difficult situation for us. We were talking virtually, we are still talking virtually, hybrid at the same time, both are going on. But now we are making our devices so strong. They are communicating to us back. I've seen morning a weighing scale, believe me, it is talking to your Twitter and it will tweet your weight. So don't take it. Believe me, don't take it. It is really a disaster for the female especially. Don't do that. So this is like IoT. It has good, technology is good, but up to some extent, right? So this is how we talk about the manufacturing industry. Yes, they have changed. But when I talked to my cousin, again, because I was keep talking to him, I was interviewing him basically. So he said, we face so many challenges. What could be the challenges? Adaptation of the technology, the first and foremost thing. Changing of the human mindset, changing of the labor mindset. Because now they are hiring two types of people, which are more traditional and of course, those who can run these machines as well. They are training, they are paying for it. It's very difficult for an Indian businessman to invest in that much, believe me. But they invested it, and it's really good. Because what I liked about it, people are changing. People are changing with the time. Do you remember the cassettes that we were using? I still have seen in the libraries in Germany. I liked it, they preserved it. But when I want to take it home, I don't have a tape recorder to play it, right? And when we talk about the CDs, one of my neurologists, he gave my, the prescription in the CD. I went to the doctor and she said, I don't have a CD player. Then why did he give me? That's the question, right? So we have to adapt. We have to change. Otherwise, we will be on the same place and we are not trees, right? We can run, we can move. That's how it is. So the most significant things are here, the procedures that we are adapting. Yes, it's very important to change, but at the same time, we cannot change everything. So we can start from small. So my more work is on the machinery part, even though when the manufacturing companies, they buy the raw material, it still can go with the traditional method. Melting process, molding, forging, molding, and even preparing the mold is also another process. That's why we have 3D printings, if you know about that. Solid stocks, cutting, and this is the machinery part. Here, now, the machine that I showed you, it is actually connected with the AI. That IoT, the data is going to be saved on the servers. This is how they have reduced my work. They fired me, or of course I left that job, but I have hired machines. Instead of hiring so many people, they have hired this one. So here, they are collecting the data. They are not sending it anywhere. They are storing in their own computers. They are collecting the data. And what they are doing, actually, they are minimizing the waste, first of all. Because you have seen in the video, all the waste is like, it is brass. It is actually brass. Believe me, it's very expensive. And you know the bronze, even the Statue of Liberty is made of 75% of the bronze. So these are the materials which are very, very important. And people usually sell it in very high money or everything. So they are collecting and they are saving the raw material cost because they can reuse it, they can remelt it, and final inspection can be done inside the machine because it is programmed like this way. Even the small inches cannot be here like changes. No, nothing. And they have increased their production so much that they don't need that much of people. They are just buying the machines and they are doing very well with that one. So this is how the IoT is already there. But IIoT will be more, like icing on the cake. So there will be AI which can implement or collect the IoT data, not like the weighing scale. It's very bad. But still, it will give, or it is giving to the industry that, okay, this much of production is okay, this much of production is not okay, and then they are deciding whether I need to buy the more raw material or not, or should I go for the production for this day or that day, not. And when I was working, I remember that one, I worked 72 hours continuously to send the shipment, because that time everything was traditional. And by this way, they are saving the time and money at the same time, and both are important things, right? So challenges, of course, workplace adaptation and training. People are really biased, especially the people who really don't want to change. When you go out and you tell, can we speak in English? That's the point, you can understand. So that's how it is. But we really don't want to change them, right? We can change ourselves. Yeah. So workforce adaptation is the basic thing. My family is really actually putting money into the training rather than thinking back in traditional way. Connectivity and interoperability. The reason behind that one, if they do not operate in a proper manner, they can actually collapse with all these machines and everything. It's very important. Data management analysis, and really they hire data analysts so that they can calculate everything and they can have really productive things there. Security and privacy, of course, we are in Germany. You can understand this much more better. Data privacy is the biggest concern. Scalability and flexibility. Scalability, yes, they are also, even though when I was working, they were exporting these things, but now they are exporting to many countries like North America, and they started now sending these products to the Australia, all the regions they are connecting. So these are the possible solutions. Of course, whatever the problem is, there is a solution. There is a solution, another problem. So that's how this all things are going on. So here are some solutions. The effective implementation of technology requires, definitely. That's why many people have to train yourself, so don't worry. You will not be replaced by AI. You need to train yourself. That's it. That's how you can motivate it. Building user confidence, that's how we motivate our students, right? To adapt, to learn new things. Determine which data source is important, what they want to have it and what they don't want. Because one more important thing, data and information, two different things. Don't confuse yourself, right? Whatever we search on Google, it's just a data. It's not an information, right? We are the one, what we grasp it, what we make the conclusion, that is information for us. And machine learning techniques should be developed and implemented IoT. The application adaptive learning approach, especially human learning, it's very important. And this is, again, not the full stop. I make the to be continued. I really emphasize blockchain into it, because data will be stored after this way in the blockchain. Okay, so maybe that will be to be continued. Okay, that's all from my side, and thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Any question, any reflection?
Any questions?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Sorry, good presentation, but my concern is that IoT is taking care of everything.
Yeah.
To you, what is the future of work for human beings?
I believe it will be more transparent, first of all, that everyone needs transparency at work, at even manufacturing industry. Everyone wants it.
The machine will have taken care of all the work.
Not all the work. No. I think here we are mistaken. We cannot take the robots to eat the food. We still need our hands. So no. That's 70-80%. Still we have 20% to chance, but we will focus on the more productive things rather than the non-productive things. This is how I feel like that.
You wanted to add something?
Yeah, that will be actually impossible. The technological developments are failing some companies. So some companies are bankrupting, who are having hardship to adjust to the new development.
Oh, it's really difficult. Believe me.
And also, venture capital is a huge problem.
Yes, that is also.
Apple is right now a huge company, and nobody can build another company to race with to compete with.
You are taking very big example, Apple. I'm taking example of my in-house. It's very difficult for them to spend that much money. Yeah.
Your company is developed to that level.
And it took 10 years, but still it took 10 years.
So I'm from a family. So
Yeah.
what am I going to do? How can I be an entrepreneur to get into that field? And,
It just need one idea. I personally believe this thing. Yes.
So, somebody will come up with a new idea, and the current company will bankrupt, and the new caste system will grow, and the new upper higher.
Yeah.
There are always external factors.
Yes, external factors, yeah.
Do you wanted to
from this conference and all, I used to say one thing. This AI thing will help you all to take rest.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't need the teachers.
Yeah. All robotics will help you to do all
Yes,
these
of
things.
course.
You can all
I
rest.
agree.
So don't worry
Thank
about
you.
yourself.
So thank you for this observation. And now, before we conclude, one thing, in morning in the first session, we started with the keynote. Use AI responsibly.
Yes.
So the one thing is, when it
That's
comes
the
to
one.
responsible use, we can use it in operations, we can use it in quality, but sometimes if you say we are replacing Socratic dialogue with AI,
We have to think. Yeah, thank you.
Don't AI it right.